In 100 AD, Marinus describes the 10th cranial nerve. So the history of Marinus is that he discovered the vagus nerve along with 6 other pairs of nerves. This was the main anatomical observation for hundreds of years. The glossopharyngeal, vagus, and spinal accessory nerve were considered as one nerve because of the way that they exited the skull. The vagus nerve was more of a description of the functionality and the anatomical observations that were made. And here you can see by the 2nd century AD, there were still only 7 pairs of cranial nerves. So the history of Galen in 2nd century AD. The vagus nerve is still grouped together with the glossopharyngeal and spinal accessory nerve. He came up with the idea that the sympathetic trunk received sensory information from the brain, but it also received motor information from the spinal cord. And here we can see the next one, Vesalius. In 1543, there are still only 7 cranial nerves. So the history of Vesalius. He was credited with the first correct description of the vagus nerve. But there is still no distinction between the vagus, glossopharyngeal, and spinal accessory nerves. This is because it was believed that they all had the same function and worked together anatomically and physiologically. So the next is Willis. And he stated that the glossopharyngeal and the vagus nerve are now separate nerves. The spinal accessory nerve is still being grouped with the vagus nerve at this time. And you can see this here. Willis in 1664. Here is the glossopharyngeal and the vagus nerve. And then the history of Soemmerring. In 1778, he finally considered the vagus, spinal accessory, and the glossopharyngeal nerve to serve as individual pairs. He is credited with the official list of the 12 cranial nerves, and that list has not been changed since. So if we go back to that same table that I've been showing the whole time in 1778, you can see here that they're all separate. So here's the glossopharyngeal nerve, here's the vagus nerve, and here's the spinal accessory nerve, and they are all separated. Thank you.